I remember that day like it was yesterday. The day that shattered every dream I ever held dear. It was my wedding day, the day I had imagined as a perfect beginning to a new life. Yet in an instant, everything turned to chaos. As I stood there in the dim light of the reception hall, my heart pounding so fiercely I could almost feel it in my throat, I knew I had to reveal the unbearable truth. I had spent years building a fragile hope around a life filled with love and family, but beneath the surface lurked a betrayal so deep it threatened to rip my world apart. I had chosen to forego the white dress that symbolized innocence and new beginnings. Instead, I walked in wearing old jeans and a faded t-shirt, a silent declaration that I would no longer hide behind appearances. The moment the video began to play on the giant screen behind the altar, a suffocating silence fell over the crowd. There, for every guest to see, was the damning evidence of Henry's and Amanda's affair. The grainy footage from Henry's bachelor party showed him, slurred and reckless, bragging about secret trysts and meticulously planned rendezvous. Every word he uttered was a dagger to my heart. And as the images unfolded, I could see Henry's face twist in horror, while my father, overcome by the shock of betrayal, collapsed into a heap that no one could ignore. I had always believed in the sanctity of family. After my mother died when I was 16, my father had poured every ounce of his shattered love into raising me and my younger sister, Claire. When Amanda entered our lives, I resisted at first, convinced that no one could ever replace the gentle warmth of my mother's love. Yet, over time, Amanda became a confidant. She helped me choose prom dresses, guided me through the labyrinth of college decisions, and lent an understanding ear when I felt lost. I trusted her completely, never suspecting that behind her supportive smile lay a secret that would devastate us all. My life seemed to take a turn for the better when I met Henry at work. He was everything I had ever wished for, successful, charming, and magnetic in a way that drew everyone around him into his orbit. He fit into our family as seamlessly as a missing puzzle piece, bonding with my father over golf, sharing light-hearted moments with Claire, and even forming a connection with Amanda through shared interests in yoga and meditation. When Henry proposed to me on a family trip, I felt like I had stepped into a fairy tale, one where every detail had been orchestrated to perfection. But behind that fairy tale, a sinister truth was slowly unraveling. 2 days before the wedding, my cousin Ben, one of Henry's groomsmen, pulled me aside in a trembling whisper. His eyes were haunted, and in his hands he held a small phone. With a voice full of urgency and sorrow, he showed me a video from Henry's bachelor party. In that video, a drunken Henry boasted about his secret affair with Amanda, detailing how it began at last year's Christmas party, how they arranged clandestine meetings at hotels under the guise of yoga classes, and how the proposal had merely been a ploy to conceal their indiscretions. As I watched, my blood ran cold. The evidence was irrefutable, and the betrayal was complete. In the days that followed, I embarked on a desperate quest for the truth. I recovered deleted text messages filled with intimate details, credit card bills that revealed frequent hotel visits on days when Amanda claimed to be attending yoga, and even visited the hotels where their secret meetings had taken place. A sympathetic hotel manager, recognizing the faces in the security footage, allowed me to view recordings that captured Henry and Amanda entering together time and again. Each piece of evidence was like a shard of glass, cutting deeper into my already broken heart, confirming that the love I thought I knew was nothing but an elaborate lie. I wrestled with the decision of whether to cancel the wedding quietly or expose the truth publicly. The idea of a quiet cancellation tormented me. It would only leave room for whispered rumors and twisted narratives that might paint me as irrational. Instead, I resolved that the truth deserved the spotlight. If they had wanted privacy, they should have concealed their betrayal from the start. So, on that fateful day, I stood at the altar not in a pristine white gown, but in my old jeans and t-shirt, a symbol of defiance and raw honesty. As I took my place at the altar, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation and tension. Henry stood before me, his eyes wide with panic and regret, while Amanda rushed to my side, her voice trembling as she pleaded, "Please, let me explain." But I could no longer hear her over the roar of my own heartbeat and the collective gasps of the guests. I signaled to the technician, and suddenly, the screen behind us lit up with the damning video. The bachelor party confession, security footage, text messages, and receipts, all playing out in an endless loop of betrayal. The room erupted into chaos. Voices clashed, tears streamed down faces, and in the midst of it all, I saw my father collapse, his body succumbing to the shock of seeing his entire world unravel. "This isn't a mistake," I declared, my voice wavering but resolute as it echoed across the hall. "This is the truth, and you all deserve to know what really happened." In that moment, as I stood there with the weight of truth on my shoulders, I felt a surge of power, a bittersweet liberation that came from no longer being a prisoner to deceit. The aftermath was a blur of hospital visits, media frenzy, and the relentless sting of public scrutiny. My father, the once steadfast pillar of our family, was rushed to the hospital, his condition a painful reminder of the emotional toll our betrayal had exacted. I sat by his bedside for hours, holding his frail hand and whispering promises of healing and justice, even as I battled the crushing guilt of a life irrevocably changed. At home, Claire was equally devastated. The woman she had trusted implicitly, the person she looked up to as a second mother, was now revealed to be the architect of our pain. In quiet, tearful moments, I would catch her staring off into space, her eyes reflecting a sorrow too deep for words. We clung to each other, our shared grief binding us together in a silent pact to survive the onslaught of lies. In the midst of the personal chaos, unexpected voices began to emerge. Several of Henry's colleagues reached out, their voices tinged with remorse as they admitted to having sensed something was amiss, but feeling paralyzed by fear. One colleague, a soft-spoken man named Robert, recalled a moment during a company dinner when Henry had made offhand remarks about how easily someone like me could be deceived because of my busy work schedule. "I wish I had done something," Robert confessed in a trembling tone over the phone. "I was too scared of the repercussions." His words, laced with regret, only deepened my resolve to stand up for the truth. Meanwhile, Ben's brave act of showing me that video had not only unveiled the extent of the betrayal, but had also ignited within me a determination to reclaim my narrative. I began to compile every piece of evidence, every text, every receipt, every piece of security footage, and I documented it all in a journal. That journal became both a testament to the cruelty I had endured and a roadmap for healing. With every entry, I poured out the anguish, the anger, and the bewildering sadness that had taken root in my heart. One rainy afternoon, as I scribbled down my thoughts with tears blurring the ink, I wrote, "Today, I watched a small bird fight against the relentless storm. It may be fragile, but its will to survive is unyielding. I, too, will rise above this tempest." Those words became my mantra, a beacon guiding me through the darkest hours. In the following weeks, the repercussions of that day rippled far beyond the walls of our shattered family. The video from my wedding quickly spread across social media, turning our private tragedy into a public spectacle. News outlets, bloggers, And even strangers dissected every detail, their opinions a cacophony that threatened to drown out my own voice. Amidst the media circus, legal battles began. My father's lawyer, determined to recover the stolen family heirlooms and the nearly $200,000 Amanda had embezzled, fought tirelessly to bring her to justice. Those heirlooms, the engagement ring that had once belonged to my mother, the grandmother's pearls, the locket holding cherished infant photos, were irreplaceable symbols of a past steeped in love and loss. Their theft felt like a desecration, a final act of betrayal that cut deeper than any words could. As the courtroom drama unfolded, more damning revelations came to light. I discovered that Amanda's deceit was not a recent development, but a long-standing pattern of manipulation that had been carefully concealed behind her gentle facade. Old letters, hidden in a dusty wooden box, revealed that Henry and Amanda had orchestrated their affair long before I had even met Henry, a conspiracy of secrets that spanned years. Each discovery was a fresh wound, a reminder that the life I thought I knew was built entirely on a foundation of lies. I began to connect with others who had experienced similar betrayals. In one of those moments, I found myself in a small diner, late one rainy night, sitting across from David, a man whose own heart had been shattered by deceit. Over cups of steaming coffee, David spoke softly. Sometimes, the wounds we bear are not marks of weakness, but proof of the battles we've survived. His words, sincere and full of quiet strength, resonated with me in a way that no one else had. In that conversation, I realized that although my pain was uniquely mine, it was also part of a larger tapestry of human experience, one where betrayal could eventually give way to resilience. As I slowly began to rebuild my life, I sought refuge in the creative arts. I enrolled in a creative writing workshop, a sanctuary where I could channel my tumultuous emotions into words. There, among strangers who had also endured their share of heartache, I met Jessica, a vibrant soul whose art was as bold and raw as the scars she carried. One evening, after an especially moving session, Jessica and I found ourselves alone on a park bench under a sky studded with stars. With a soft voice and eyes full of empathy, she said, "Sometimes, the only way to heal is to let the pain flow out of you. Every word you write is a step towards reclaiming your strength." In that moment, I felt a spark of hope, a fragile light that promised that even in the depths of despair, healing was possible. The legal battles, the media scrutiny, and the overwhelming sense of betrayal had reshaped not only my personal life, but also my very perception of trust. I became cautious, even guarded, with every new relationship. Yet, even as I built walls to protect my heart, I longed for connection, for the simple, unguarded moments of human kindness that could remind me that not all was lost. It was a delicate balance, the need to shield myself from future pain, and the yearning to embrace the possibility of love again. I often found myself standing at the edge of this internal chasm, uncertain whether to take a leap of faith or retreat into the safety of solitude. One crisp autumn afternoon, seeking a moment of clarity, I visited the beach, a place that had once symbolized joy and freedom for my family. As I walked along the shoreline, the gentle murmur of the waves provided a soothing counterpoint to the storm raging inside me. I watched as the tide inched forward, each wave a metaphor for the persistence of life despite all obstacles. Sitting on a weathered log, I allowed the cool breeze to carry away some of the heaviness in my heart. There, I observed a young couple laughing and embracing, their joy untainted by the shadows of the past. In that fleeting glimpse of innocence, I found a renewed desire to believe in the possibility of happiness. Even in the midst of pain, There were unexpected moments of levity and connection. I reconnected with Anna, an old friend whose unwavering support reminded me that I was never truly alone. Over spontaneous road trips and long afternoons spent in cozy cafes, Anna's laughter and optimism acted as a balm to my wounded soul. "Your strength is something I admire so deeply," she would say, her eyes shining with genuine warmth. These moments of companionship reaffirmed that while the scars of betrayal might never fully vanish, they could eventually serve as marks of a past that had given way to growth and resilience. At night, when the world was quiet and the memories felt especially raw, I would retreat into my journal. There, in the solitude of my room illuminated only by the soft glow of a desk lamp, I would pour out every thought, every emotion, every lingering doubt and hope. One entry read, "Tonight, I feel like a shattered mirror, each piece reflecting a different part of my pain, yet together forming the portrait of who I am becoming." Writing became my therapy, a way to make sense of the chaos and to slowly stitch together a new identity from the fragments of the past. I share my story not as a means to wallow in sorrow, but to affirm that even in the face of the deepest betrayal, there is a path to healing. Each day, I strive to honor the love I once knew, the love that still lives on in memories of my mother, in the gentle strength of my father, and in the enduring spirit of those who have helped me along the way. The journey is long, and the wounds run deep, but with every small victory, I am reminded that I am not defined by the betrayal, but by the courage it took to confront it. Even now, as I pen these reflections, there are nights when the memories surge forth like an unstoppable tide. I lie awake in the silence of my room, the faint glow of a street lamp casting long shadows across the floor, and I can almost hear the echoes of that fateful wedding day, the sound of my father collapsing, the gasps of the guests, the cold, unyielding truth displayed on that screen. In those moments, I let the full force of my emotions wash over me, the burning anger, the deep-seated sorrow, and a fragile, tentative hope that somehow, one day, I will rise again. I think of my mother during those lonely hours, recalling the soft lullabies she used to sing and the warmth of her embrace. Though she has been gone for so long, her spirit feels as real as the gentle murmur of the waves outside my window. I find solace in the belief that her love continues to guide me, that in every quiet moment, I am not alone. I see her in the delicate petals of a blooming flower, in the golden light of dawn, and in the quiet whispers of the wind. As I continue on this long, arduous journey of healing and self-discovery, I have come to realize that every scar, every tear, and every heartache is a part of my story. A story of survival, of resilience, and ultimately, of hope. I am not the same person I was on that devastating wedding day. I have been reshaped by the trials and tribulations of betrayal. Yet through it all, I have learned that the truth, however painful, is a powerful force that can set one free. As I stand on the threshold of a new beginning, I feel the weight of my past slowly lifting from my shoulders, the memories of that fateful wedding, the public unraveling of lies, the sound of my father's collapse, the shattering of every hope I had, still echo in my mind like distant thunder, yet they no longer define me. Through every tear, every sleepless night spent piecing together the fragments of my life, I have discovered a strength that was buried beneath the sorrow. I have learned that the truth, no matter how painful, is the only path to freedom and self-discovery. I watch from afar as Henry, once the man I believed could complete my world, crumbles under the crushing weight of his deceit. His charm has turned to regret, and his once confident demeanor is now marred by isolation and despair. Amanda, the one who had woven herself into the fabric of my family with false promises and feigned compassion, now finds herself lost in a maze of her own making. A labyrinth where every lie has led to deeper misery. Their downfall, though painful to witness, is a testament to the inevitable justice that follows betrayal. Yet, my journey is far from over. There remains a lingering sense of possibility, an open road stretching out into an uncertain future where healing is not linear, but filled with moments of both pain and triumph. I have come to understand that every scar tells a story of survival, and each broken piece of my past is a stepping stone to a future where I am defined not by what was taken from me, but by the strength I found in reclaiming my truth. I share my story in the hope that it resonates with anyone who has ever felt the sting of betrayal or the crushing weight of deceit. Let this be a reminder that while the wounds may run deep, the human spirit possesses an incredible capacity to heal, to rise, and to love again. If you have ever experienced a moment when your trust was shattered, I invite you to share your journey, your struggles, your victories, and the lessons that have guided you through the darkest hours. Together, we can turn our pain into a beacon of hope, proving that even in the face of overwhelming betrayal, the path to a brighter future is always within reach. What are your stories of resilience, your moments of breakthrough? Share your experiences, and let's build a community where truth, healing, and growth light the way forward.